Once upon a time, Vicki was trapped by the curse of her thoughts. It had her believing she was powerless, imperfect, and weak. Then one day, the curse started to lessen, and Vicki could see a little clearer. As each day passed, her thoughts improved until she broke free. She then began creating magic in her life. Now, Vicki is getting ready to marry her Prince Charming. This is her manifesting success story. Hello and welcome to this episode. I am back with Vicki Pace for her 21st interview. I know. Amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. It's so awesome.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so fun to see how far you've come. And we've actually been talking about that. Not a lot, but it's come up in the past weeks in some coaching. It's like, oh, like, you've been here before, you've done coaching on different things and just sort of how far you've grown. So that's been fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you were like some coaching we did the other day when you said, go listen to one of your interviews. You've answered this for yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. I can't remember which one I landed on, but it did help.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. I love it. That's amazing. What else is awesome?
Some really great, exciting opportunities. I'm like nervous to say it, but I'm going to start coaching with you. I said that wrong. I am going to start coaching my own clients in the Enchanted coaching circle.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yay. I'm so excited for you.
I know. Oh my gosh, me too.
What's most exciting about that opportunity?
I love seeing, I'm relating this a lot to teaching kids because that's my experience in terms of coaching and helping other people is I love that moment, seeing someone understand and grow and having them apply it to their, whatever they're applying it to. And I'm so excited to do that for grownups. Like on a big scale, like for money and see their lives work out. And, that's half the reason I love going to our coach calls is seeing everyone's lives like play out perfectly.
Yes. I totally get that.
Yeah.
Amazing. I'm super excited for you. And I'm sure we will touch more on that as we go through the interview. But first, I want to know, what is your new manifested total?
My new manifested total is $82,091.66.
Yay.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
Oh, it feels so good. Yeah, it just feels so great. It's like, that's mine. I did that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with your help, obviously, but yes, that.
But you did that. I can talk, I can give assignments, but I can't do the work for you. So, I mean, it's yours. Like, get support. But yeah, it's all you.
Yeah. I have 3 exclamation marks next to it.
I love it. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been about 3 months since our last interview, a couple months. It is February 2nd, 2021. I love that. 2221.
Yeah.
And so what's been your biggest aha or growth since our last interview?
Trusting the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us more. What does that look like? How is the depth of what that means? Because I bet if we did go back in the 20 past interviews, somewhere you said that.
Yeah.
And what I find is that it's the depth of that, right? Like, it's often the same thing, but it's the depth that's different. So how would you describe sort of that, or, how's it gotten deeper?
Applying the process, in the past, I've applied this process to other areas of my life, not just money, and it's worked. But now I'm applying it to a new area, a different area of my life that I've never leveraged LOA toward, or at least not successfully. I mean, I remember doing it like in my early 20s. weird visualization things. Oh my gosh. But this is like, I'm applying it to this. I'm using the enchanted process and applying it to this other area of my life, and it's working out, and it's working. And it took you telling me it works for your money. Why wouldn't it work for this too? And that was an aha for me. Like, you're right. Of course, I know that. And um, I, yeah, that was a huge aha for me. And building on that, and I don't think you and I talked about it, but in just the last few days since that last time I brought it up on the coach call, I've been really applying it, and oh God, it just feels like such a relief.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And we're doing some really fun work, which will probably come out in future interviews, but I love growth. And this is a whole new level of this thing that you're applying it to in your life. Like you had success one way, and I think you needed that success. And now we're really shifting and growing into a deeper level of success and it working and just being different and creating something different, which is, it's really cool to see and to be able to coach you through that and see like, okay, yeah, I know you had to go over here and you had to get it this way. And almost now we have to totally undo all that and do it differently. But that was the way to do it. That was the way you needed to do it first, because it had to be done that way in order to sort of undo it and up level it.
Yeah. And that process is what brought me to you, and like looking up LOA podcasts and finding you.
Yay.
And after letting go of the need for that process, I've actually been more successful at the process, like not feeling like that is my only way to do this thing, and opening that door and allowing me to shut the door has opened it wider, kind of.
Yeah.
Things, it's just feeling easier, and I feel better, and healthy and strong, and yeah, it's been great not feeling like I have to.
Yes. Oh, there's such magic in letting go and shutting doors. And so often they just open right back up in a really good way.
Yeah. And you had said that you were like, you need to let this go. And if it's possible it'll come back around, and this is the thing for you, but it's possible it's not. So let's just, play and see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's so true with pay after you manifest. Like the last time shut it down seems extreme, but shut that door, because it felt like it had run its course in that moment. I never thought it would come back. And a few months ago, I was like, oh my gosh, that is what needs to be open now. And it feels so good. And of course it's perfect and it's totally aligned and it just makes so much sense and is opening up it's really the reason you get to now be a coach, because opening that back up in this moment is like, okay, we need some more coaches because the process works and we're going to have more and more clients. And I still want to have a fun and easy life, but I want to help as many people manifest millions of dollars as possible. So
yeah.
Yeah.
And but that was sort of a leading by example moment for me, like seeing you bring up pay after you manifest again. Because I remember when I first started with you, you had just stopped that, I think, because some of your old Ginny podcasts were coming out and they're delayed. So you were talking about that. So when you came back out with it, I was like, wow, this is cool. This is going to work for a lot of people. It's going to touch a lot of people's lives. And I got so excited about it. And then I had kind of a breakdown and it wasn't like my old breakdowns, and not that they were bad, but this, like, I was texting you about this. I had a day where I was like, oh, I need to go to bed. It was like 6:00. I was like, something is up. I don't know what is going on. And then the next morning, that's when you sent the email out about the Enchanted coaches.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it just felt like everything kind of was like water falling, trickle down effect.
Yes. Yeah.
It all fell into place. It was so great.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing. Oh, so fun.
Yeah.
Is there any other coaching that's really clicked that I've given you or someone else in the recent that's really made things move forward or support the work that you're doing?
Kind of what you said to someone to have a future self corner.
Yeah.
And I can't remember how you applied it, like what the coaching was for me, but it was like, go,
Oh,
do
it
you
was your
remember?
thoughts. Yeah, it's your thoughts about this,
Hmm.
what you're working through and growing through and now leveraging LOA. And it was
Yeah.
like, yeah, have a spot where that you're just calm. And
Yeah.
yeah.
And I think we applied it a little differently that it was like, I can't always there. Anyway, it was like it was an activity that activated the calm, which is like,
Yes.
we do that for other things. I don't know why it just didn't apply it. But it's been working so well, and it's so great to have those tools available to me. Um, yeah, and to that you give permission or hold the space for us to let go of judgment. You know,
Yeah.
yeah.
Talk about talk about that a little more. Like, what is letting go of judgment? Like, what has that opened for you or closed for you or made possible recently?
Well, I'm just having a better life. Like I'm having more fun,
Yay!
just enjoying myself and like so I had come asked you about I was judging the number of thoughts that I didn't want
Mhm.
and about multiple things and I was like, I'm doing this all the time. Like I'm constantly having to stop myself and activate calm. And you were like, there's no reason for, judging that. Just do it and move on, and I was able to do it really quickly. And now that I'm thinking about it, I had to go through the same process when I first started Manifest 10K. And now that I think about it, I remember spending like multiple weeks like doing this. And for me, this time it only took a day, like
Yay!
6 hours.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes, yes. I
Yeah. And
remember that too.
right. And
Mhm.
especially your comment when you're like, you don't, how do you think? Like I had asked you, I was like, thinking about what other people would think of my performance because I'm in a show right now. And you said, well, what do you think about your performance? And that was a huge click for me. That was like, oh, yeah, there, done.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's what matters.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, it dawned on me. I also need to include my director because it's his show. So I got some notes that I was like, oh yeah, oh yeah. You told me to do that. I should do that.
Which
Like
is
just as an actor, it's fine.
yeah. I love was it the comment that you just got from him or comment,
Different guy.
compliment? Different guy.
Different.
Got it.
Yes, yes. But
Yeah.
that was so fun. That was yeah. You're right. That happened because the next day I went
Mhm.
into rehearsal and thought about myself and what I want and think of my own performance. And that evening, this big wig from the theater gave me a really great compliment. It was so great.
Oh, yay. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Ugh, and I wanna back up, because there was a you went into this part and really said, "I'm only" or audition, not part, and said, like, I'm not I don't know how you would define it. I'm not taking these other roles that I have been
Hmm.
taking, right? Will you kind of tell the story and walk the audience through, because that's a big growth opportunity for you.
Yeah, it was because that I just like a month or two before this. Oh, when was it? When was it? Maybe a year ago when COVID first started. The theater did do a small play, and I was cast as a swing, which is you go to every rehearsal and you write down all the things that other actors do on stage just in case one of them gets sick and you have to go in. And it didn't feel good to me. Like at the time going through it, I was okay. It was fine.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until a week or two after I thought, I don't want to do that again. That's not for me.
Mhm.
Um, and not that I'm going to close that for every show, but I just was like, the next time something comes up, I am going to set that boundary that I will not accept an understudy or swing role. I will only accept a role, like a main role in the
Mhm.
show. And I on the audition form it says, would you accept an understudy or swing role? And I said no. And I just was, I'm getting a little fluttered thinking about it. And I handed it in, and I had a really great audition and was feeling very future self like. And I think the next day, or it was even that evening, there was a call with you. I was like, should I email them and tell them never mind, I'll accept it? Listen to your words. No. No, it was just, yeah, you were like, no, you set a boundary and that was your future self. And I'd already brought it up to you, months before that I wouldn't accept another role. And you were like, you need to honor that. And similar to how I honor in terms of money, I honor my savings. I have my savings set aside for XYZ. I'm not going to pull it out for anything else.
Yes.
It's for that. So that was kind of how I translated that in my energetically.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it's so important.
And then I got the lead role. It was so great. I know. And it's like a really great fit for me. It's fantastic fit for me. And I get that compliment a lot from lots of people, including my understudy.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it just felt really good. And it feels like, and because typically at this theater, you serve food and act at the same time. And this time they're not allowing the actors to serve for cross-contamination reasons. And I just, while I was doing it, I realized I'm not going to serve and here anymore. I don't think I told you that.
No.
This is great. I don't have to this is so good.
Yes.
I'm not going to serve anymore. And again, I'm not shutting that door forever, but it feels like if I got another show there in the next few weeks or months, I would say I'm not serving.
Yes. Yeah. Which opens, now we can kind of see also how by shutting those doors is opening to this bigger space of you stepping into being a coach, because we had a conversation, which was great prior to this interview about, can I fit this? I know this, but what does that transition period look like? Right.
Yeah.
And had you been serving or hadn't shut all these doors, not all, but some of these doors, that would have been a different conversation because it might have felt too overwhelming to even see that possibility and that opportunity.
Yeah. And doing Manifest 10K for the second time really got me energetically strong enough to trust these no's that I had bubble up, no's that I told people that I was like, doesn't feel good. I'm not going to do it. And it's always so fun when you trust your instincts and inspirations and tell people no, or don't, that mascara story I told you ages ago. I always think of that, and there's been so many times that those little things have happened since then, following the feel good.
Yes. Oh, I love that. And since you brought up Manifest 10K, let's talk about what it's like to do the second time. And which is then a second official, it's changed a little bit. So you'd started it before. We've probably talked about it on an interview. And then when it was time for the Future Self Workshop, you just jumped into that and we called it good, which was the coaching I gave. And I have changed my stance on that.
Right. Well, and I think at the time you were shifting your process a little bit too. And now it's settled and good and it feels, concrete now. But even doing it that time, I don't think I had any huge ahas that time. I think I wasn't super invested in it because it was like a placeholder. You may have gotten it different, but for me now, I remember more of my first time going through it. And this time around, I'm growing so much faster. And I do remember the last time I did it, I was completing assignments before they came up. And that's happening again this time. How many assignments has it been that I read it? And I was like, oh, well, that's crazy that this is the assignment today because XYZ just happened. And that's basically what you just told me, but I'm still going to go do it again.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah. That's amazing. What I remember about your second time, and maybe it actually was your first time, was the intention we had to put into, like the way, like doing your activations, it was very, I always remember this about you, and maybe it was the first time. We had to really like up level them. You know, it wasn't like, oh, make dinner. I don't even remember what the feeling was, but it was like make dinner with music and candlelight and let
Mhm.
the wine decant. You know, it was
Yeah.
very intentional.
Yeah. And then, and that work, I do remember that. You're right. That was my 1.5 time doing it. Um,
I love it. Which is, that's probably all you needed from that time was
right.
that. Yeah.
That that practice in up leveling. I think that's
Hmm.
what that series gave me. And now I'm better at up leveling, or and also seeing that I need to up level and that I need
Yeah.
coaching on it.
Yes.
Um, yeah, which is, oh God, your coaching is just so invaluable. And I'm going to talk about how, like, being in a show again and being directed by some, like, a director,
Hmm.
and having all this experience being a director and teaching people how to act. It's so interesting seeing, like, I know the things I need to do, but I still needed the director to come in and say, you got to do this, this, and this. And it's like, oh, I do know that. You're right. You're right. I know. Thank goodness you were here to see that looked crazy from the audience,
Yeah.
like that doesn't make sense if I say it that way. You're right. And um I love the idea of LOA coaching. I don't know why my brain just went there, but um yeah, it's because we're talking about me being a coach too. So
Yeah, yeah, and I love that, and I love that reminder. I was actually putting together coach training today, and put a question that you that are future coaches, or you'll get this question about, like, what is coaching? How has it impacted your journey? Right, having coaching, and as you were saying that story, I'm like, well, yeah, there's never a movie without a director.
mhm.
Right. Whereas people think like, oh, maybe if anyone listening has had a thought, like I shouldn't need a coach, or like I should be able to do it on my own.
Mhm.
I shouldn't need another coach or another whatever. If you're not there, you do, because it's exactly what you just said. It's that looking from the outside, which you
Mhm.
can't do for yourself. And like there's no movie produced without a director, because somebody needs an eye on it. So
Mhm.
if you want an amazing life and you want to turn it out, to multi-million-dollar film or billion-dollar film life, then you probably want a director or a coach with an eye on that, for where you can up level those details and where it can make sense and where you're honoring the story that you want to be true.
Well, I think that's exactly it. Like, even if you're a DIY LOAer,
Mhm.
it's like you get to a point where you've read Manifest 10K 2 or 3 times and you've done it, and you think I shouldn't need coaching, but what's happening is you're up leveling. You've gotten so good, you need to get to the next level, and you're at a, you've sort of reached the top level that you can do by yourself without a director, a coach.
Yes. My favorite thing about interviews with you is that we get to compare LOA to acting. It's so
Yeah.
much fun.
I know. Well, and we should talk about how I've followed inspiration on memorizing all of my lines and music, and how it's worked out perfectly.
Yes, that was my next question. Like,
Oh.
that was going to be like, see, we're totally in sync. I love it. Tell us like how you've kept that going with that inspiration, and in not just being good, like it's been up leveled. I want you to tell the story, and then if you miss any of my favorite parts, I'll throw them in.
Okay. The so when you're in a show, there's a period of time in the beginning of rehearsals where nobody expects you to be memorized. You're just doing table work, talking about characters, background, yada yada. Um, and but then things start picking up, and all of a sudden it feels, in the professional world, they might, I don't know, but sometimes at this company, directors do sometimes have an off book date. Other people just say, you're grown-ups, figure it out. um so that was more this guy. It was more just expected we would be off book at some point soon. And there were a couple times throughout the week of rehearsing that I was like, normally I would be staying up late, kind of white knuckling my script, looking at my lines. and I just haven't felt like doing it, so I'm not gonna do it. And this is a 5-person show. Like there are multiple. I'm on stage for 98% of it and have tons of lines.
Amazing.
And it turns out the show is all about the bars, like peanut butter bars, like it's
Oh,
desserts.
yeah.
So like, because we're just always carrying food props.
Oh.
It's set in a kitchen, so that was a whole layer of memorizing on top of it all. And I only worked on my script for like 20, 30 minutes here and there. And I kept like there were moments where I was like, I'm not putting in enough work, but I'm okay. It'll be good. Like I'm good. I'm putting in what I feel is what I I am putting in only what I'm inspired to do, and that will make this perfect.
Yes.
And what ended up happening, and I'm working with some really impressive professional actors in this, and they were the ones in rehearsals who came up to me and told me I was showing them all up by being off book and knowing more of the music and lines than anybody else. And still to this day, we open for an audience tomorrow, and I'm still like the most sure-footed with all of my blocking and lines and singing and lyrics. And it's worked out so well. And even we've had like stretches of 2 or 3 days off between rehearsals. And sometimes in the past, that would have been my time. Like, I'm going to spend 5 hours. I'm going to get it done, memorize the whole thing. And I never touched it like for some of those 3 days in a row. And it would sometimes just be like 20 minutes before I walked out the door. I'd look at my script, and then I would get there. And usually those days were the days I got compliments from people with how prepared I was.
It's amazing. I mean,
Yeah.
I love this because, to put an acting or an improv term, like this is a great through line of this story is how you keep deepening this. And so how does it grow your trust now you're getting compliments, right? It's not just like, because even in auditions, and I want to back up because you had been doing that and you did it again in auditions, right? You were inspired to learn like 2 of the 3 songs or something.
Yeah, what was that? Oh, yeah, that's right, for callbacks. Oh my God, that was so ballsy of me. I'm not gonna learn this one. Oh my gosh, I'm sweating a little just thinking about it. Oh,
and yet you didn't have to sing it.
I didn't have to sing it. Like, yeah, because for callbacks, they sent out, these are the 3 songs we want you to sing for us, learn them and be ready. And as I was practicing the music, I just was drawn to these other 2 songs, and I worked on those a lot. And then that first song, it like wasn't clicking in my brain. And I thought, oh, it'll be fine. Like, it's easy enough. I'll figure it out. It's cool. And then I just focused on the other 2 songs. And when I went into auditions, they just said, they sent me home before I don't know, like they were singing the other women for that song, and they sang me for the other song with a couple other women, and then they sent us all home. And I was like, that's great. I didn't work on the song, and I didn't need it. So perfect.
Yes. So every time you do that, like, how does it increase your trust?
So much. It's because then what happens is anytime I get a bubble of, oh, I should do this, I should do that, even if it's like the dishes or I mean, I can't think of another example, or like money. I can't think of any examples right now, but yeah. That I think, well, how has trust helped me in the past? How has it worked in the past? And then I have these really great big stories to remind myself.
Oh, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I love it. Very cool. It's so cool. And it's my favorite. Like when you get on and that's like, I wasn't inspired to learn the song and I didn't have to sing it. Like, it's my favorite.
When I told you, I could just see you be like, yes, amazing.
Oh,
and the reason it's such a big trust thing is because if I went into a callback and not knowing the song, that would it doesn't always mean that you are not cast, but it could make you look like a goof.
Right.
Yeah, and like you don't want that in a callback. So the fact that I
Mhm.
trusted that it didn't feel good, so I didn't do it, that was a really big thing.
Yes. Yes. Well, and so what would you say to that actor, aspiring actor who's out there and like, who's listening to this, like, I can't believe you wouldn't learn. Like, that's so, like, I don't know what the things would be, right? But, I don't know, what irresponsible, or, how do you, like, how would you respond to somebody who said that?
My instincts are always on point.
Yes.
Yeah. My inspiration is always perfect.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it is. I mean, it's so true. And there's no denying that, right?
Yeah.
And so you could shit all over yourself and take all this time and make it really hard, or you can trust your instincts and your inspiration. And I'm imagining it just feels so much better.
It really does. And it makes things like a callback much more enjoyable and more fun and more like what they tell you in acting school, that audition should be like a performance. Treat it like it's fun. And every actor's like, "Are you kidding?" um, but that's kind of what makes it fun to me is trusting inspiration. And like another layer of that for the auditions, they wanted a monologue and a recipe and a song. And I was inspired to learn this one monologue, and I typed it up and I thought, I don't like this and I don't want this anymore. And then I just was
Mhm.
like, well, what feels easiest? And I just went with my ye old monologue that I use all the
I remember.
time.
Yes.
Yeah. And then what ended up happening was my friend who's married to the music director, she said that the director didn't even want a monologue. He just wanted us to read a recipe in the accent. So I was like, oh, well, that's why I was inspired to go with the monologue that I felt is fun and easy that I already know.
Yeah.
And so I could focus more on making the recipe fun.
Hmm. It's so amazing. And like what this perfect, I think I did know about the recipe, but I forgot, because like what a perfect role for you. It involves a recipe in the kitchen.
I know, it's so fun. Oh my gosh, this role is amazing. Oh my god, I love it.
Oh, I am so excited for you. I am so excited that you're going to be an Enchanted coach, because
Mhm.
the people that get to work with you are so blessed, and just like they can see you have that. You know how to build your trust muscle, and you know what it takes. And so I'm
Mhm.
just so honored to get to work with you in that way. Anything else that you want to share today as we wrap up?
I It actually dawned on me yesterday. I was thinking about old interviews I've done with you, and
Hmm.
we've talked about some of my really big breakdowns and some of my
Hmm.
darkest moments. And I thought that was really great practice for me to coach other people, because
Yeah.
those are some heavy moments
Yeah.
in my life. And I think going through those and with your guidance really gave me some excellent experience to be able to guide others through any strong moments in their life.
Absolutely.
Hmm.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
I am so excited for you and what's next and what we get to create on a new level together.
Hmm.
So, thank you for sharing this moment and all of those moments, because this moment is really amazing. And I love that you guys are open and have been willing to show all the moments that lead to this moment.
Hmm.
And likely there will be other breakdowns, which
Yeah.
may or may not be as big, right? We don't know.
Hmm.
But just thank you for sharing all of the moments with us.
Thank you, Cassie, for being there for us.
You're welcome. Thank
Hmm.
you. And tell people how they can connect with you on Instagram.
My Instagram handle is at Vicki Not Vicky. It's spelled VICKINOTVICKY.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you all for listening. Make sure to come back and check out what's awesome next time in Vicki's life. The telling of stories is so powerful, both to the person telling it and the person receiving it. Since 30,000 BC, we as humans have told stories to teach and guide. And now we, with Manifesting Success Stories, hope to inspire you to what is possible in your own life. If you want more manifesting success, go to moremanifestingsuccess.com, where you'll find links to anything we've talked about on the show. Thank you for joining us today, and remember, you have the power to write your own happy ever after.